All right. There is the bell. Sorry about the echo at the beginning there. How are we doing? Hit that like button, Outlaw says. Beautiful. If you're just joining up, just definitely destroy that like and that subscribe button. Helps us out a ton here on the stream. The market is opening at a weird time today. Well, not at a weird time, at a weird price point. The SPY is actually gapping down following the insane price action that ended up coming into play just last week. We've talked a lot about a lot of different data on last night's video. I hope you guys were able to catch that one, because that was a good one for the data. There was some really good info showing that a lot of times the market likes to go down around this time. We showed this image here, which is a pretty big deal. This is a huge deal. How's the S&P 500 performed? Every day, or if it rallied every day during Thanksgiving week. On Monday, the markets went down 82% of the time. With data going back to 1950. That is a pretty weird statistic. That is a very weird stat. Of course, we have a lot of news with the Bank of Japan today, causing a lot of sell-offs here. Everybody's confused. Nobody knows what's going on. Everyone is caught off guard by this. Pissed off now at Japan, but it's okay. It's okay. Essentially, Jerome Powell's equivalent in Japan ended up coming out and talking about a rate hike. What this did is end up making yields pop to the upside. They say Japan is one of the crazier parts of, or has a pretty crazy economy, right? Like it says here. Traders in U.S. debt remain sensitive to Bank of Japan policy, given its control of the spigot on the flow of the Japanese yen liquidity globally. Higher rates in Japan may entice domestic investors to keep more funds in local government bonds instead of higher yielding assets overseas, such as treasuries. So essentially, people are going to keep their money in Japan instead of buying U.S. bonds. At the end of the day, what this really does, it's a pretty big deal, because whenever you think about it, just less buying of U.S. treasuries equals less money, kind of helping push those yields lower. The bond market weakens a little bit. Yeah, you know, I wonder what the FedWatch tool is showing. So I actually refreshed the FedWatch tool yesterday. I don't know if you guys have seen it, but it's sitting at 86.4% right now. If we refresh the FOMC interest rate tool, it's now sitting at 87.6, so still pretty good. Still pretty good. It's very low, Goose. But I think that they said if there's a rate cut, or they recently went over 1% for the first time ever is what they said. Let's see. It's really low, though, like 1%. See how U.S. yields are sitting around 4%? Like what it says there? Right here. Japan's 2-year borrowing costs, among the most sensitive to changes in monetary policy, climbed above 1% for the first time in 17 years. It moved above 1% as this guy was talking about possibly doing rate cuts on their December 19th move. Wow, that's a big difference. So on their FedWatch tool, the chance for a rate hike went up to 80% from less than 25% a week ago off of this guy's comments. That is a big jump there. Big jump. It was 0. I think it was close to 0 anyways. Yeah. Yep. Powell does speak tonight, Jake. Yes, he does. Yes, he does. Plus, I guess it also depends if you're looking at the 2-year or one further out. That's why I got SPY puts Friday, Mason said. Mason's always grabbing the SPY puts. Speaking of SPY, it won't load on the chart here. Gonna bring up our Mag 7 setup on TOS. Microsoft in the top right is selling down. Not looking very hot. By the way, I hope everybody had a fantastic weekend. Ooh, Coconut said Japan played the zero interest rate game for too long. Now it's biting them in the ass. Feel free to indulge, Coconut. I'm sure it'll be an interesting topic. If you're just now joining up, destroy that like button. Let's go. Destroy the like up. I wonder how, like, even the US 20Y looks today. Oh, yeah. US 02Y. US... Is it 03M? Yep. Just looking at them in the short term, seeing how they're looking. It does seem like these yields have bottomed in the short term. If we use this as like a technical chart, granted, it's some people say looking at technicals on bonds is stupid. I've actually seen it hold up pretty well in the past. Again, doesn't mean it makes it right. Maybe it just happenstance, but nonetheless, it does seem like the trends can go pretty well. They're the new Argentina. Whoa. That would be insane. KO, how you doing? Tesla bounced back, James said. Let's see. Wow, yeah, back to break even on the day. They filled the entire gap. How's the SPY doing? Attempting to fill the gap so far from open. I would keep watching it up for right now. It fell back underneath that trend line that it popped above Friday. Back underneath there, but overall pretty decent. The new Argentina, I like that. I think they had a negative interest rate for a while. Is that with the carry trade situation? The carry trade. Excuse me. Sorry about that. They're printing money left and right, making their own currency devalue, increasing debt, which will eventually spiral out of control. I was gonna say, it sounds like us. I don't pay too much attention to Japan generally, but I know that they can have a pretty big impact with the market like that. Japan has literally double our debt to GDP, if I remember correctly, Anthony said. Palantir is falling down this morning in a pretty awesome way. I know it's not a Mag 7, but it's down. Look at Google and Microsoft actively dropping to new lows of the day, I believe. NFE's trying to bounce. It's funny, it's still showing the usernames out here. What's up, Brain? Or as we know, Sear Flesh. Enjoyer. NFE is up 18% though. I like to see it. Looking at our watch list. Cook is cooking. Traeger. Oh, it's up like 9%, but it's not really moving that much. It's a very low price penny stock, so it definitely has these weird moves there. Very weird. Fat is fatting. Where'd it go? Wasn't it just up there? Wow. They ended up falling off very quickly. Literally, where did they go? Did it get taken off? Hang on. The hell? There we go. That was weird. I must have deleted it. Oh, it's a Fight Club reference. I didn't know that. I've never seen that one. A little too old for me. I like old movies, but I don't know why I haven't seen that. 86 on Zoom. Pretty big resistance, but it's starting to break. Test it at least. It's actually breaking the double top from Friday, close to 85.70 as well. Good old Zoom. Nice growth stock breaking out here intraday. Not the largest stock ever, but recovering back pretty well. I think we saw a big money trade recently with Zoom. Mike and myself have looked at Zoom forever since the COVID days. Oh, yeah. There we go. Entered on November 25th. $1.1 million. Long-term expiration out to January of 28. Wow. A lot of time. But this stock's so low, if it truly does try to break out, this thing could be nuts. Right in the heart. It's an old movie. Daggers. AAL with a good bounce, the put said. There we go. Let's see AAL if it can hold its ground and start to really recover back up. That was a good move last week. I still like it to the upside here. Big money trade there as well. Where's my... There it is. On these time frames, it makes the text jump off the screen, and then I have to go get it. So here we go. AAL, 14 calls. January 16th to 26th, $2.8 million put into this one. Entered in just last week, I believe, on Wednesday. Nvidia is looking good so far, Demir said. There we go. Nvidia 170. I like to see it bouncing intraday, though. Up in the green now, 0.5%. There we go, Nvidia. Microsoft and Google were falling off this morning, Demir. It does seem like Nvidia is extending up the best out of them. Amazon's attempting a bounce. Looks like Meta might try to bounce here. Microsoft is coming up intraday. But Apple's selling off. Microsoft was bad. Google was bad. If they do start to bounce off their intraday low, though, that could be really helpful here. Let's see it. Let's see it. Bit of Nvidia bounce, but I don't see anything else. That is a nice bounce with Nvidia here. 178.50. Oh yeah. Tesla trying to bounce off of 426. Support. It pulled back pretty hard after running up this morning. See if it can be a good dip buy or not here. Let's check out some growth stocks. Whoa, Navitas starting to pop back up off the dip this morning. Getting some decent recoveries off the dips. There's been a few dips that have came in. I'm noticing that crude oil and Chevron are moving higher. CVX is starting to move. How is crude? Crude oil? Nothing too crazy for crude. It just bounced off of the $60 a barrel resistance. But I like to see Chevron moving. How's ZOM as well? Okay, not bad. Maybe BP. What is Phillips 66? PSX? Yep, thought so. 1.86%. A lot of these oil stocks are pulling back up. And does Nvidia have some news? I saw Jay post in the discussion channel that Nvidia, Jensen Huang, said that AI is going to transform every single industry. I do see that on my news as well. Uh-oh. Oh no. Google Chrome's gonna go down on me, guys. I'm gonna be forced to close it. I'm gonna try to close some of my 50 tabs. Hang on. That'll probably help. AI is the excuse for everything nowadays, Goose said. It is, right? It's the good excuse and the bad excuse. If your dog ate your homework, AI. You got fired from your job, AI. You lost on a trade? AI. You overslept your alarm? AI. It's all AI's fault. Yeah, Anthony, oh my gosh, I have so many open from doing all the research for the vids. AI in space. That was hilarious. If you know, you know. QQQ looking good, 615.50. Testing intraday highs. Let's see if we can get a breakout going. What's up, brain? I'm like trying to figure this out. Oh, your grandma wants to start dating again. AI's fault, yeah. Hey, that one could actually be AI's fault. She's gonna buy one of those AI humanoid robots. SPY getting close to some big resistance coming up. 681, watch out. This is not a bad area here. Actually, a pretty good area resistance. It can hold there. It might go to the moon. It might try to fill that gap. No kidding. Just watch, though. This is a big resistance. This would be the main area that I look for a rejection at on the way up if we were going to get one. All right, SPY. Let's see if you can pump. If it starts to break through here, I at least want to see a move to 682. At least. It's definitely holding. It is. There we go. Getting through 681 now. There we go. All right, SPY. Damn, what a jump. It's still negative on the day, too, with that gap down. Pretty weird move. Nvidia up in the green, 0.65%, really helping the SPY to keep going. With Nvidia keeping that momentum, Meta's starting to push back up in a great way. Google and Microsoft are covering as well. They might be red on the day, but they are doing good nonetheless. You think the ISM data that's coming out, 4 minutes on ISM, I don't really think that that's why the market's ripping. I think we're just pushing past the Japan craziness from this morning that caused the initial sell-off. QQQ still has 0.5 left to fill. Fill the gap. I actually would say it's going to fill the gap. I see what you're saying. Up to around 617 right here. The real gap fill honestly goes all the way up to like 618.80. Kind of insane. I do like that as resistance though, right? At 617. Nonetheless. Let me destroy this water really quickly before the ISM data comes out. 1 second. All right. We'll all be telling our grandkids in 30 years how we lived through the great AI race, except for me. I'll probably be dead, Coconut says. No. You think it's the ISM data that's coming out? Come on, ISM. Now you got me really anticipating the data, Demure. You really got me anticipating it now. Here it is, November data. Producer manufacturing. SPY, pull back towards 681 now. Better use it as support. Got that Purchasers Managers Index coming out. Measures factory and production activity. Anything under 50 shows contraction. Anything over 50 shows expansion. That's generally how it is with the PMI readings like that. You'll see it like how this one's at 48.7, for example. We get services PMI Wednesday. That one's over 50, so those have been growing. That measures business activity within services. Of course, this one's more manufacturing, production. So it can move markets, it just depends. But get ready, this is where we'll see it. MSTR seems kind of scammy, or at least a really bad business model. Strategy? They definitely need crypto to move. Wow, they are selling off terribly here. This morning, they are down again. Big gap down. Damn, support is not holding up. That is a bad sign. I've been eyeing up that base down here as a possible support range, but... wow, not holding. Not good, not good. It's getting pretty fearful. You know what they say? Buy when others are fearful and sell when others are greedy. That's right. That's how we get it. Go back to SPY for the PMI, see how we're moving. And then I'll go check to see. All right, let's see. SPY's moving up for now. Again, not really getting hit too bad. All right, came in at 48.2. Looks like a little bit under forecasts. Little bit below forecasts. I wonder if we'll end up seeing like any articles on CNBC or anything like that. But yeah, a little bit under forecast, 48.2. Definitely not the best sign. But that doesn't mean that it's going to kill the SPY. Okay, that's not what that means. I don't think traders really care about that too much, if I'm being honest. But it could happen. It could happen. We could see some movement still. Even with that said. I would not touch MSTR with a 10-foot pole. I don't think I would either. Not right now. We'd have to wait a little while, that's for sure. Come on, Navitas, Brain says. Not going to be a 20% day today, I don't think, Brain. Remember a couple weeks ago? That was funny. For those of you that don't know, we would watch Navitas, and it was like 4 days in a row, it was up 20% or something. It was a wild time there. Wild time. Those 20% plus days were nice. Oh, yeah. I enjoyed them. QQQ trying to pop back. Getting a little slow and choppy here on the SPY and the QQQ. SPY starting to reject a little bit. Banks don't look too good here today. Banks do not look too hot. Any big Simbot alerts asking for a friend? SMBot. Sorry, I thought it said Simbot for a second. Let's see. You know, Intel's getting called out on there. Intel calls. They were hot Friday. Seems a little bit slow here today, though. How about Uber? On the calls. Walmart, possibly. No, I wouldn't touch Walmart right now. You know what? Actually, hang on. That one. Looks like SMBot needs to be updated, actually. Hang on. NVDA is trying again. Nvidia, 179. Now that is a nice jump. Still moving higher here. Let's see if they can get through 180. That would be beautiful. This has got to be helping SPY. It is. The SPY has got a couple green candles on the move here. Meta actually looks pretty good as it has recovered back up. Holding up pretty well. Trying to maybe get up and fill the gap around 647. That would be perfect. All right, guys, 1 second quick intermission. I'll be right back. All right, sorry about that, guys. Sorry about that. Just got a big call from one of my dad's lawyers. Just give me one moment here. Wanted to get back, though, as soon as I could. Just got to write a few things down. Hope everyone's having a great morning, though, so far. Nice day here in the stock market. Oh, yeah. Beautiful day out here. At least I'm happy with it. I'm definitely happy. The nice price action. "100 people watching, but the chat is dead," Brain said. Probably because the host is unfortunately having to write a bunch of stuff down really quickly. How do you guys feel about this Japan situation? A lot of people are attributing today's big gap down, and I would believe it, to what is going on in Japan. The Bank of Japan president pretty much came out and said that they're looking at rate cuts at their next meeting, which is December 19th. Ended up making yields explode. I wish they'd put the tickers on here. SNPS had some news with Nvidia today. Okay. Yeah, pretty good jump this morning. The deal, Nvidia bought $2 billion of Synopsys stock. They purchased the shares at $414.79 each. Got a little jump there out of that. It's a good jump. I just trade the chart in front of me every time I guess the fundamentals. The market proves me wrong. A lot of fundamentals are like big long-term stuff, but maybe you mean technicals. I think the main reason for the gap down is the price action from last week. You do. I wouldn't be surprised. I'm actually glad to hear that somebody has that thought out there, because whenever you think about the stock market, there doesn't always have to be some type of huge news tied to it. But traders really act like that there does. So don't forget, we have had a lot of data the past few days kind of suggesting maybe a bit of a pullback as well. Scary to know how much leverage is in the stock market. It's true, we are actually seeing a lot of leverage out there. Now, of course, with crypto growing, that creates a lot of leverage as well. But even with the stock market, yeah, margin levels have been like exceeding records, I believe. If it's in the news, it's in the price. I've never heard anyone say that. Blue-eyed wolf, I like the name. Pretty negative data, though. It was wild to say that the SPY rallied every day last week, but it did. It did. Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Friday. 4 days in a row. A pullback was probably in the cards. Once we got back under 681 here, SPY has really been selling back down. 680 starting to even break down. Sheesh. Had a good move up to that 682 resistance, though. That ended up being a good area. I know a couple of you were watching for the gap to fill right there. That ended up being perfection. If you sniped it. Lumen looks good. L-U-M-N. It's a stock you haven't looked at in a little while. That might be a good thing with this one. At least the past few weeks, anyways. Pulled back a lot. Yeah, it's kind of been off my radar too. Barrick Gold. Or Barrick Mining, I guess now. Up 3.23%. Look at that daily on that. Wild. GDX. Still trying to pump higher as well. When Palantir was around 70. Let's see, PLTR. It's an interesting move. $70. Back in April? I see what you're saying. I see what you're saying. Look at Lumen here. Oh, I was kind of referencing Lumen's like price action right here. Or at least like those good few weeks. I don't even remember looking at it back then. My gosh. BP's up 1.4%. Baba up 3.1% as well. Alibaba. If we look at Baba, they've been dying recently, but they're starting to come up off of this dip. There's a little bit of a base starting to form on Baba around 150 to 155. It does look pretty good on the daily chart for a possible swing trade back up over the next few trading days. I know a lot of you guys have loved Intel on the way up. That one was in a very good lower range. Need to find some more stocks in a good lower range. Disney is one of them. Disney is one of those stocks that is down in a big range. I can't see. Gotta zoom out so far here. It scrunches it all up. Yeah, big support around $80 on Disney, holding up extremely well. It's trading right in the middle of the range, around 101 to 100. Trying to bounce off that 100-ish zone. Are we ever going to get tariffs fixed for China? It would make a huge difference, I'm sure. They keep saying that, I keep seeing that they're hoping for deals by a certain date and yada, 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 but then it seems like things just die down. Looking at SM Bot right now, we have Robinhood puts on the radar. Look at the Robinhood with puts on the daily chart. This thing is turning over in a pretty massive way again. It's in an overall downtrend. This could get fun for puts over the next couple trading days. I'm actually a big fan of Hood puts. Hang on one second. Got my screens all messed up here. Robinhood. Looks like the IV actually got a little bit low recently too. Not bad. Might create a good put opportunity as IV starts to rise if it does start to dip down more and fill the gap. Has a gap to fill down to around 116.80. That could be a good drop from where we're at. It'll probably pop back up at some point intraday today to provide a better opportunity, but China got us with the rare earth. The rare earth card. I know. They're like, you want some magnets? Never mind. No magnets for you, United States. It worked, I guess. Pretty big pullback with SPY here underneath 680. Getting a little green candles here on the 1 minute. Not necessarily super confident in this one, though. It would affect Baba and Neo. Yeah, it would. Do you ever trade FBG bounce? Fair value gaps? Yeah, I mean, sometimes. It's not like something that I really do religiously, right? But if I do see an opportunity where I see a gap starting to fill, I definitely look for that gap to fill. Now, I don't go and like look up the strategy or anything like that. I just generally know what it is. And I just have traded enough and looked at charts long enough to know how gap fills kind of trade out, but they don't always have to fill either. Keep that in mind. But it is fun a lot. It is fun a lot, especially if something's pretty overextended and there's a good support where the gap is. Man, it can get fun sometimes on the reversals. It definitely would affect Baba and Neo in a good way, Jake. Yeah. That could maybe get things going a little bit more again. Looks like Baba has been stair-stepping. Have you guys noticed this on the daily chart? Baba's in stair-step mode. It's going like this. You know, do we move up this final time? That's the million-dollar question, isn't it? Do we get this next leg? I like the stair step. We could probably see a deal end up happening too. I wouldn't be surprised. It sounds like things are generally positive whenever I hear about them. Regarding China. One second, guys. XRP's below $2, Tom. I'm cooked. Oh, gosh. It's okay if it's under 2 by just a little bit. But just note how this looks. Ouch, Seer said. Ouch is right. Speaking of Bitcoin and crypto, how is Bitcoin itself? Oh, gosh. Nasty 6.5% drop. Got even worse today. Man, that drop last night was bad. Looks like that recovery from late last week into this weekend was just a dead cat bounce for this week. Another big turnover, unfortunately. Not what you want to see. Definitely not. 8675309, as they like to say. Is that also because of Japan? They definitely are trying to attribute that to it. I saw a lot of articles saying that it hit crypto, as it generally just restricts money in general. Just don't want to be seeing rate hikes generally. Rate cuts would be nice. CRWV Core Weave. You're looking at good old Core Weave. CRWV's trying to move a little bit. Bouncing around 65. Holding around $70 as well. I wonder why crypto has been dropping. Any news? Not really too much, Outlaw. Crypto goes through these cycles of doing well and then doing bad again. You got to remember that. People are always going to tie something to news, but, you know, into today, people are looking at the Japan situation. Imagine Burry starts shorting it. Maybe he should. That would maybe get it to pop back up. Speaking of that, Nvidia is popping back up pretty good again today. Still eyeing up that dip on an NVDA. 180 is about to touch. This is a big level. Let's see the book map. Oh man, my book map's messed up. Never mind. Give me a minute. I gotta open up my all stocks tab, which takes a few minutes to load because it's gonna load up every single one. One-minute chart, though, shows how close it is. Very close, within like 7 cents. CRWV. Come on, follow your friend Nvidia up. It's doing pretty well intraday. I gotta give it some credit. It's just, the problem is that it gapped down. But from the low of the day to the intraday high, this stock ran up 6.7%, essentially, up to 74. That is a great intraday move. 6.7%. We'll take that. We'll take that one any day of the week, I think. I think Nvidia is going to win ticker of the day for me, though. Just how nice and consistent it's been this far. That is a nice, consistent move there, Nvidia. That's what we like to see. Anyone else like Nvidia today? Who's watching for it to reject at 180? Let me know in the chat. Do you think it'll reject or you think it'll go up? Even if you just want to take a wild guess, feel free. I think back down to 177 today. $177 would be a pretty good drop. I like that area of support, though. That is a pretty good one from last week. Don't know what Navitas is trying to do today. I lean more up with Navitas, but it's too bad to see it moving so weakly. You know, you can't just hold and hope, right? Well, not hold and hope, but just hope. At this point, I'm afraid to ask, Brain said. I still like the daily chart on Navitas. The problem is that it could chop for a few days and then still move higher. That's the one prospect that I'm watching out for just in case. Very plausible. What the hell? TGE to the moon. How about TGE to the hiding this user on the channel? Yeah, he didn't last very long, Brain. You gotta love when they do 2 in a row, make it very obvious. I know that those guys have a lot of brain cells. 360 no-scoped him. I guess I did do that, didn't I? Tesla filled that gap, but has been pulling back down, unfortunately. Not the best PA at this very moment. Will Bitcoin reach 80K? Gosh, it's fallen a lot. Not today, probably, but... man, maybe by tomorrow. Next few trading days, I could see it. It's turning over very hard. I don't think it's going to just bounce and come back. I could see it continuing to sell. This actually worries me for the overall market that we see the SPY start to pull back and make that same move. Not that it super, like, worries me. It's just something to watch out for. SPY has been contending with that trend line over the past couple trading days. That's a big level to contend with. Oh, man. I hope that they were right, Seer. I hope that they actually got in and held it. I know a lot of people that actually bought and held a lot of these, like, you know, XRP, Bitcoin, other ones that have done very well. It's hard to make the argument whenever they keep performing. They're not my favorite, but they perform. I'd rather stick to where, you know, we know what companies are doing and stuff, but I really fear that with them not being super regulated, that one day we start to see a big problem where people start to learn how crashes work. But hey, let it go until it stops, right? Oh man, I've been hearing people call that one for years. Literally years, it feels like. All right, time to zoom back in, go more intraday. Go check out Robinhood again. How's our SM bot looking? Because it was calling out Robinhood puts a few minutes ago, and those end up being fire. Now we have Nike calls on the bot. Is Nike starting to come back for Christmas time? Nike's been getting crushed, for those of you that don't know. They actually filled the gap on the daily chart, and they're starting to bounce. This does not look like a bad call swing opportunity for the next couple months. Maybe we'll see some increased holiday numbers with Nike. I hope. we could see the opposite too, so keep that in mind, but I could see some better numbers coming in for them. It's pretty solid, Nike. It was definitely interesting to watch, Brain, for sure. Crazy how much they've pumped over the years. NASDAQ intraday. Pushing towards the HOD. See if we can go for a test. Looking pretty bullish, though. Nvidia still under 180, though. Has not been able to break out past. Not bad, PA. Just can't get past there right now. Yeah, great price action this morning, just in the immediate moment, rejecting at 180. You'll see if it continues the nice stair step up or not. Looks like it's trying to point up at this second. Has some work to do to really break through, though. MU and Apple. MU looks pretty solid today, up 0.2%. Filled the gap right at resistance. I like the way it's moving so far. Apple looks solid too, pointing back up. We're seeing a lot of stocks here starting to point back up intraday. Microsoft even is. Amazon, Meta, Apple, Tesla. It's helping to push SPY up. SPY's actually looking really good here. Very nice push by the SPY. Coconut said, I never understand what you are really putting your money into when you do crypto. I know it's very weird how it works, right? Like with the blockchain and the computations and everything. It's pretty strange, but it's definitely something you need an expert on crypto to talk about, which I am not by any means. I feel like that scene from The Wolf of Wall Street where he's like, it's a wazi, it's a woozy, it's a poof, it's not fucking real. Remember that scene? I feel like that's exactly the scene that he's talking about. Or I feel like that goes good with that. Obviously, there's more to it than that. It's just kind of, it's funny to talk about it that way. Palantir about to make a new high of the day. Let's see, we're testing high of the day with Palantir, getting up into the pre-market levels. Yeah, they can't, Brain. They definitely can't. It's been a long time since I've watched like since I've really watched and researched, you know, a lot of good information on it. So It's definitely not going to be my most fluent thing in the world. Come on, Palantir. You're right there. Get it done. I know there's a lot of traders out there that love Palantir. Want to get this moving. Samuel A said QQQ is going to close at 617. Hey, that's actually right around where it is now. That would be interesting. Crypto bros need to be honest about what they can buy or why they buy crypto. For the hype, bro. No. Obviously, the prospect of making 1,000% is pretty nice. Most people I know that do crypto, they don't even buy the good cryptos. They buy all the weird shit coins and then they all lose. That's most of the people who I know do crypto. Tom, how come the cum rocket didn't shoot off today? I don't know, man. I mean, can you you might have some context clues in the name. And I wish I was kidding, guys, but there's literally coins named that. TSLA moving up, 430. Resistance coming up here. Tesla's tested this range 2 other times today. Yeah, it comes down to making quick bucks. Palantir rejected again. Brutal rejection for poor Palantir here. They're not able to get through, at least not yet. They might be still setting up for a push, though. Same thing with the SPY. Right at the high of the day. Right with Palantir. It's not your alley? It's useful on the dark web? It's been a while since I've heard about the dark web. You guys ever been on the dark web? What is it? What's the website again? Or The Onion or something? I can't remember what I used to do. So, yeah, I know Silk Road. That one was interesting. Tor? The Tor browser. Okay, that's it. Yep. The Tor browser. One quick moment again, guys. Sorry for the delay. Your parkour did not work today. Uh-oh. Sear flesh joy. Brain. Cutting loss. Let's go see Tesla. Come on. Get up there, Tessie. People want to see a 430 breakout. You know, Nike's still doing pretty good. Cutting losses, so now watch for Navitas to go up. Man, Nike's crushing it intraday. It's only up 1%, but it had to make that intraday comeback, and it's done really well on the way back up, too. I got huge hope Tesla will come through with everything Elon's promising. It's some wild promises, you know, humanoid robots and stuff like that, but I could see those things really becoming prevalent in the future. I could. I could definitely see something like that. I got huge hopes Tesla will come through with everything Elon's promising. Hell yeah. $2026 will be epic for Tesla. You think so? Let's run a quick poll really quick. Let's run a quick poll. All right, let's see. All right, what do you think? I can only do 4 options here. How much will Tesla stock rise, if it will, in 2026? Will it go over 10%? Will it go over 25%? How about 50% plus? Or will it fall down and go red? I'm curious what you guys think. Obviously, it's a crapshoot. You could maybe try to pull out some fundamentals and see how it would look with that. But nonetheless, I'm curious, in 2026, how will Tesla go? Now, keep in mind, this counts for the whole year. It's pretty much like, where will it close the year, right? Only for entertainment, though. That's what I like to hear. Only entertainment. Make sure you're not playing with anything nuts there, then. Yep, we know how that goes. Nvidia 2. Either Tesla or the Chinese will give us the Cherry 2000. If you guys don't know what the Cherry 2000 is, you better look it up. It's pretty weird. Pretty weird. Nvidia just hit 180, still rejecting down. Watch out. Yeah, it's a really weird movie, isn't it? It's supposed to be like a robot lady or something. It's crazy. Yeah, very old. I couldn't believe it whenever Coconut brought it up to me for the first time ever, and I looked it up and was like mind blown. At first I thought he was talking about like Cherry MX switches for like a keyboard. Cherry MX Blues. You're back to your old form. The second parkour of the day is going south. Navitas back down 3.26% sell-off. How's Hood? Are they still dropping? Oh, they're starting to actually find some support here with Hood. Attempting here in the short term. Back to Palantir. Right in the middle of the range. Gonna pull up our watch list here. Check out Fat. It's funny how that one's been up a little bit today. Fat Brands. Win Casino. What is up with the casino stocks, guys? The casino stocks have been on fire lately. Like, look at Win. I know it broke this downtrend a little while ago, but my gosh, it has been on fire again. New recent highs just made. We could see a good continuation the next few days off of this. That little double top is starting to break. Wow, Win. That's what I like to see. That is what I like. MSTR down 11%. The drama with Michael Saylor will be interesting. 156. Sheesh. No kidding. Down a lot again. I can't believe it broke that recent support like nothing today. I guess I can, given how much it's dropped recently, but it does seem like an extra bad move. All right, we got a little showing in this poll. Nothing too crazy here. Got a little vote going on. 43% of you voted for Tesla popping over 25%, but 19% tied on getting over 10 or getting over 50. So the majority voted, well over 50% of you voted that Tesla would get over 25%. That's a good thing, or that's an interesting thought. Actually, over 60% of you voted that it would get over 25%. If I'm being technical. Yeah. 19% said Tesla down, so that's 4.1% of you. Yeah. Yeah. It's kind of funny to think about it like that. Not the biggest poll ever today, but, you know, we ran it at the end, so I didn't think it would get that crazy. But yeah, for those of you just now joining up, you don't know what the big drop was this morning. It essentially comes down to exactly what's going on with Japan. Yes, Jerome Powell's counterpart in Japan came out and pretty much said that they are looking more at rate hikes. This pushed their, I think they said 2-year yield over 1%. One of the yields got over 1% anyways. Let me find it here. Of course, they're not showing it now. Let me click on markets here. Come on, where are you? What'd they do? Take it away? Let's see if they talk about it in here or not. Yeah, a rout in Japanese debt rippled through global bonds. Exactly. And if they're doing more rate hikes, it just, you have to keep in mind, rate hikes are generally pretty rough. Most people want rate cuts because if rates are lower, you have better borrowing costs, you know, more money going in stocks, more money being used to deploy everywhere, things like that. Thanks for the stream. No problem. You're doing CS2 tonight? That'll be fun. No problem, Outlaw. Sorry, I talked about it a ton at the beginning. And then, we had a hiatus where we didn't mention it for a while, so figured I'd bring it up again for anyone that missed it. But we can see if we go to like the US, just 10Y, for example, how much it jumped up this morning. Go to like a daily. Like you can see the big green candle on US 10Y, US 20Y. It seems like yields are starting to hold this lower range of support between like 4.5, 4.6% on the 20-year. That's not a good sign. You know, I think a lot of people want this to break down, get under 4.5%. Maybe we'll see it happen with, you know, Jerome Powell here. Next week, we're going to have a big FOMC meeting on December 10th, Wednesday of next week. So be ready there. The market was at least as of this morning, pricing in a 79.1% chance of a cut at the next meeting. Let me refresh it, see what it looks like now. Okay, now it's 87.6. Sorry, I must have looked at the wrong refreshed FedWatch tool. I had multiple open there. Nvidia bought Synopsys stock today. SYNS, right? Crap, what was it again? I wish they'd put the damn ticker on here. SNPS, that's it. SNPS, yeah. On the article here, on the left, they put down what it is, but they don't put the ticker. Like, just right here next to it, really small, $sign NVDA, you know, or something, like. I could see before the end of this year, Joe Papa. Let's see. That's only 20 trading days or so left. Don't quote me on that, but close. You said Nvidia. Can I see a run or pop back before the end of the year? I could, yeah. I could. Especially around like the especially around the Santa rally phase of December. Especially around the Santa rally. That's where I could really see it. Bring my book map back over here. There we go, NVIDIA. I like that 180 resistance. Oh, yeah. 5-minute chart. Beautiful. Bounce off of there. Be careful there today. It's going to be tough. SLV is crushing it, Timothy said. Timothy, SLV up 3%. Love that move. Continues up again, right? It's been so consistent the past few trading days. Even gold, it's up. It's not up as much, but it's still doing fantastically well. Really well, actually. Man, silver, that's hard not to love here. It's hard to keep buying in because it's pretty overextended at the moment, but man, gold and silver have been on one of the more historic runs that I have ever witnessed. Reminds me of Bitcoin when it went up like crazy. Obviously, this one's not even close to that, but just like the sheer scale that gold and silver have like in the world, it's pretty insane. Go check out the Mag 7 again. Getting very choppy here in the middle of the day. Very, very choppy. Everybody feeling good about this week? I know a lot of people are worried about this data. Man, it shows that today and the next couple trading days could be pretty rough. I wouldn't be surprised if today kept going in the rough direction. But all right, guys, I think we're going to go ahead and call the stream there. Hope everybody had a fantastic morning. We're 2 hours into market open. SPY has double topped and failed to break out at the 681.85, 682 resistance. We had it pretty perfect at the level from yesterday. Or I should say from Friday, not yesterday. I know last week was weird. It was a short week. We're going to have even more crazy, weird days over the next few weeks as well. Boom. Friday, December 25th. Or sorry, Thursday, December 25th. 3 stars. The market will be closing early at 1 p.m. on Wednesday, December 24th. So 1 day before Christmas Day, on Christmas Eve, the market will be open, but it will close at 1 p.m. So close a little bit early there on Christmas Eve. Then we have the market will be closed again on Thursday, January 1st. But then the market will be open on Friday, January 2nd. So it's a bit weird there how that's going to work, but that's how it's set up to go. Pretty weird there. Pretty weird. Meta, META, 645 resistance. It's trying to get back up there. I just don't love it right here. It's very choppy. If anything, I do like it back up. Maybe get to that high of a day. Maybe test 645 again plus. I just don't love it though. But if I had to pick direction, I'm leaning to the upside. Powell speaks tonight. Anything important? No, nothing too crazy, actually. Nothing too crazy. Let me pull that up. Here we are. Jerome Powell, 8 p.m. Eastern Time. Brief remarks and panel discussion with Michael Boskin and Condoleezza Rice on George Shultz and his economic policy contributions. Those things are always such long names for these dumb events. Powell probably won't say anything too crazy. I mean, we'll see. You never know. Anytime he talks, it could be big. It could be a blowover. Very tough to say. I'm going to go with that nothing's going to really come from it. But I swear every time I say that, then it ends up being big. This is how it goes. But we talked about it in last night's video as well. I don't think anything too crazy is going to end up coming from it. I think the bigger thing to watch for this week is 100% the economic data at the end of the week. That's going to be the bigger thing to look for here. We can see on Friday, core PCE, Michigan consumer sentiment, personal income, personal spending data, all set to release. That'll be the big day. But all right, everyone, I hope that you all have a great rest of your Monday. Appreciate you all for joining up. Thanks to everyone who liked and who talked in the chat. But even if you didn't, and you're just a lurker out there, we appreciate you. Now, the Black Friday deal is going to be ending extremely soon. We're not giving the date away. It's going to be random. Don't come back at us after the fact. If you want to, though, shoot me a private message. But check out the link I'm sending in the chat. Use code Black Friday for $150 off the yearly. It's still on for now. It will be randomly taken away, though. All right, all right. Hope everyone has a great one. See you later, guys. Wow, perfect timing. The music ended then, too. See you later.